Hey everybody. Today I wanted to talk to you, basically tell you the story of how I started dealing with MR2s. My journey started in like 01, 02, something like that. I want to say closer to 02, like February or something like that. That rings a bell. It's been a long time, 15 years. So my first exposure to them was I was actually in the salvage yard trying to find some parts for my 89 Corolla GTS. And the salvage yard, to get to the office, you had to walk down this like little main row thing, and they would always have like cars for sale and stuff like that. Well, I walked in one day looking for parts for my 89 Corolla GTS, and there was this little red sports car. I say sports car. It looked sporty, and it was red. And I noticed it. I got kind of glanced, and it only had 2 seats. I was like, "Wow, that's weird." So I stop and I look at it, and I pop what I thought was the hood, and I was like, "Whoa, hold up! Where's the engine? That's crazy." So I get to looking, and I finally figured out that the engine was actually behind you. And I'd never seen this car before. I knew that it had like this weird bird emblem thing on the front, and on the steering wheel it had Toyota. So I knew it was a Toyota, but they I get to looking, and I finally found the lever for the engine bay, and I was like, "Whoa, that's wild. I like this." So I popped the trunk and everything. I'm looking throughout this thing, and then the owner finally walked out, and he knew I was coming because I had already called. And he was like, "Man, I thought you got lost or something." And I was like, "No, I was just looking at this little car. What's the story on this thing?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, somebody brought it up here and was wanting me to help him sell it. It it needs a little work or whatever." I was like, "Well, what do you know about it?" So he's like, "Well, the guy said it has rolled bearings, so at the minimum you're going to need some engine work." And so I was like, "Well, it's not too bad. Let me go do some research on it." So I did some research on it, and I didn't even know what he was asking for it at this point, and I just knew it was a really cool looking car. And so I did a little research, and I found out that it was actually called an MR2, and it was Toyota. So I looked that up and came across I believe it was the International MR2 Owners Club or something like that. So I had some information about them and how awesome a car they were. So I was like, "Man, that's just really different." So I called him back, and I was like, "Hey, Mark," that's the guy's name. Like, "Dude, how much is he asking for that car?" So he told me it's like $500 or something like that. I was like, okay. Well, that's actually not that bad, because I was looking at how much an engine would cost and all that. So at the time I was driving a truck for a local truck accessory place, and so I was coming back from I think it was Shreveport, coming back across 20, and I was stopped at I can remember this to this day. This is like 15 years ago, and I came across, and there was this gas station that I would always stop at and refill, and I stopped there, and I had found the number for this place that had like Japanese import engines, Jarco. And I know now a lot of people have heard about them, but back then nobody local knew about them, and nobody local had a good engine for this car, because it turns out it was a 4A GE. And so I was doing all kinds of reading on that kind of stuff, and so I called up Jarco, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm looking at getting this car, and it needs an engine and all." And the guy on the other end of the line, he's like, yeah, we have like tons of those engines. And so I was like, how much? And so he said like $575 shipped for this engine, for a JDM engine. And it was the 7 rib. It wasn't a 3 rib. So it's not original to the car, but still it was, an engine. So I was like, okay, so a little over $1,000 I'm in this car and it's running. I'm thinking. So I call up Mark and I'm like, dude, I'm coming to get that car. I've already ordered the engine. And that's how the story began. So over the past 15 years, I've owned a dozen or more MR2s. I have spread the love. My baby brother, he has 2, both 86s. Multiple of my friends have bought and still have, or have had at some point, an MR2. I mean, it's just, they're awesome little cars, and I do apologize for the glare here. I'm on my way to there. That should help. On my way to work, so trying to shoot this little video real quick and just tell you all this story. But yeah, I mean, they're great cars, fun to drive, dude. I mean, I've had my little 85 in SCCA Solo 2 events, and I mean, it's a blast to drive. So that's how I got started in MR2s, and the addiction has begun. So if you ever see one and just think, man, that's a really cool looking little car. The first generation, which is 85 through 89, they're a blast to drive. I don't care that they only have 115 horsepower from the factory. With a good fresh suspension setup and good tires, I mean, they will hug a corner and just hold you in that seat. They will pin you, not backwards. By no means backwards, but man, I mean, they're just a blast to drive. They handle like their own rails. Second gen, I've had a number of those too, and they're a blast to drive, but in their own right, because the second gens I've had have pretty much all been turbo, so yeah, much more power. But anyway, so yeah, I'm fixing to pull up here to work, and just wanted to give you the story on how my addiction with MR2s began. And I apologize for the shakiness here. It's city of Jackson, wonderful, not having any money for paving roads, and when they do it halfway. So, but anyway, if you have any questions or comments, just hit me up in the comment section below. All the social media stuffs I'll stick down there too. So until next time.